Monotype is very different from all of the previously discussed printing processes. This is because rather than printing an edition, a monotype can only yield one print. This beats the record set by DryPoint for the fewest number of prints made for the amount of labor put forth. As a process, monotype exists somewhere in between printmaking and painting. The artist begins with a plate of metal, plastic, glass, or anything else with a smooth surface. The artist then uses a viscous printing ink or even standard oil paint to paint an image on the surface of the plate. The image is then transferred from the plate to a dampened piece of paper with the use of a printing press. The resulting print will have the appearance of a delicate painting on paper. One interesting limitation is that the image for a monotype needs to be painted in reverse. Allow me to illustrate with this monotype by Edgar Degas. Normally, a painting of this subject would begin with the green background painted first. The body of the ballerina would be painted second so that it sits on top of the background. Third, the surface details would be painted, such as the facial features of the ballerina, the flowers on her dress, and her scarf. To paint this image as a monotype, Degas needed to paint the foremost features first. Next, he painted the body of the ballerina, and finally, he covered the image with the green of the background. The reason that monotypes need to be painted in reverse is because the last thing that's painted is always the first thing that transfers to the paper. Needless to say, this type of printing takes a lot of foresight. Considering that only one print can be yielded from each plate, it becomes clear why many artists have avoided working with this process in the past. The early 19th century British painter and poet William Blake was one artist who was known to work with monotypes. Blake's images have an otherworldly appearance to them. They deal with religious and spiritual subject matter that seems to embrace the uniqueness of this process. If the monotype is the most limited of printing processes, the Giclee process is the most expandable. Giclee is a recently coined term that describes any inkjet or iris print made for fine art purposes. It is now easier than ever for artists to make and distribute multiples of their work. With all other printing processes, even the commercial processes of lithography and screen printing, there is a finite life for the printing surface. The image may break down, or the surface itself will deteriorate over the printing process. Giclee prints are made from digital files, so there is never a deterioration of the original. This means that a single image can be printed again, and again, and again, and again. The early 20th century German philosopher Walter Benjamin wrote a very interesting essay on the role of art in our technological era called "The Work of Art in the Age of Mechanical Reproduction." In this essay, Benjamin explores the difference between an original artwork and its copies. He asks the question about a first version. Does it have a special aura that its reproductions can never possess? This essay was written in 1935, but its ideas were very futuristic. The more our technology progresses, the less importance we seem to put on the quality of our media. What's the purpose of owning a high-quality but expensive recording or image when the basic information still seems to be available in the cheaper, low-quality version? Will there come a time when all media will only exist in the virtual space? Will there come a time when we will only exist in the virtual space? Well, see you next class. I'll be here. Waiting.